UFC 311, Islam Makhachev versus Renato Moicano just ended, and this is going to be my full card post-fight. We are going to discuss every single fight on UFC 311, which was an incredible card. Jiří Procházka, Jamahal, Merab Dvalishvili versus Umar Nurmagomedov, and of course the main event, Islam Makhachev, Renato Moicano, and every other fight on the card. Let's jump right into it. First fight of the night, we have Tagir Ulanbekov versus Clayton Carpenter. Tagir should have won 30-27 on all the judges' scorecards, but somehow it was a 29-28 scorecard mixed in there. I could not believe it. Essentially, Tagir out-grappled him the majority of the fight. Clayton Carpenter in the second and third round. Clayton Carpenter's best round was the second round. In the first round, Clayton Carpenter gets taken down, controlled, beat up a little bit, scrambles back up, and Tagir clearly won that round. Second round, Clayton Carpenter gets a takedown, a little bit control time, but then ends up getting taken down himself. I believe Tagir scrambled back up, never disengaged, got the takedown again, controlled and beat him up. Third round, a little bit more standing. Tagir's winning on the feet as well. Ends up close to the commentary booth. Tells DC this is for you. Takes Clayton Carpenter down. Guess who initiated the clinch? Clayton Carpenter. Now granted, Tagir was winning on the feet, but Clayton Carpenter had much more of a better opportunity to win on the feet than the grappling. And for some reason, his low fight IQ kept having him clinch up or attempt to take down Tagir Ulanbekov. And Tagir, I had Tagir winning all three rounds. Clayton Carpenter, I think he's a decent young prospect, but Tagir was too much for him. I don't know what judge. I guess second round when he had some top control for a little bit, but that was a horrible scorecard. Luckily, there was no robberies tonight, but there were some bad scorecards, and maybe one robbery, actually, now that I think about it, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, Tagir Ulanbekov wins with his grappling. Way better than Clayton Carpenter. Next fight on the card, we have Ricky Turcios versus Benardo Sopaj. This was a domination by Benardo Sopaj. Another judge's scorecard wrong at 29-28. I would score it 30-26 before I scored it 29-28. Sopaj outstriking him, chopping the legs early. I think Turcios might have had a takedown in the first round, if I'm remembering correctly, but didn't do anything with it. Sopaj scrambles back up, was landing head kicks in the first round. Second round, Turcios getting outstruck, got more aggressive in the second round, but just eating shots. At one point, he was like clinched up, eating knees from Sopaj. Sopaj started to look tired in the second round, but he was fine. Third round, hurts Turcios. I think he hurt him with a teep kick, and then started landing good combinations. Hurt him, almost finished him in the third round, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's why I scored it at 10-8. Yeah, he started landing some good shots, got close to a finish, but Turcios was just bloodied up, surviving, never got like crazy close where the ref was going to jump in. And Sopaj was pretty exhausted by the end of the round, but it was like just Sopaj outstriking him the entire fight, was essentially what it was. And Turcios had nothing to offer, man. He looked sloppy on the feet. Grappling wasn't there. He could not get Sopaj down and control him for any extended period of time. And Sopaj was just landing the better, more damaging shots on the feet. And it should have been all three rounds. It should have been all three rounds. I don't know why in the world it was a 29-28. So the first two fights, weird decision weird judges scorecards, not weird decisions in general. But yeah, Benardo Sopaj gets it done against Ricky Turcios. Next fight on the card, Rinya Nakamura versus Muin Gafurov. Rinya Nakamura literally gets dominated. I don't remember the scorecards on this one, but Gafurov just landing bigger shots throughout the entire fight. Dropped Nakamura a million times. I mean, rocked Nakamura in the first round with the right hand, and then like hit him with a big right hand, then sweep the leg out from underneath of him. Then had him stacked in guard for a bit. Second round, Gafurov landing knees up in the clinch up against the fence. I mean, Nakamura had some moments, but not really. Then in the third round, Gafurov, probably a 10-8 round, Gafurov was dropping him multiple times. There was one moment where there's like a scramble. Nakamura ended up on top looking for a guillotine, but never really close, even though Rogan was acting like it was close. And it was just, I mean, Nakamura looked like shit. I think 3 undefeated fighters lost tonight. Nakamura's one of them. Gafurov, it's crazy. Gafurov fights the same way every time. He just lunges in with big shots. His striking was way better than Nakamura. Nakamura was just throwing one punch. He was never throwing combinations, whether it was a kick or a punch. It was just one shot and then he would stop. One shot and then he would stop. Gafurov would throw 2-3 punch combinations, and even when he did throw one punch, he would land on the chin of Nakamura and drop him. So Nakamura has a lot to work on. Couldn't implement the grappling at all. I thought he'd be the better striker, to be honest, but yeah, you couldn't really do that much. It was an utter domination, and Muin Gafurov gets it done via decision. Next fight on the card, the featured early prelim, we have Karol Rosa versus Ailín Pérez. I'm going to try not to spend too much time on this, because somehow Ailín Pérez gets the decision, 30-27. I think at least on one judge's scorecard, if I'm not mistaken. And she lost this fight. I thought, you guys are going to call me crazy. I thought she lost every single round. She got an early takedown the first round, did absolutely no damage. Karol Rosa landed an up kick. She backed off. Rosa got back to the feet, started chopping the legs. Ailín Pérez, I think she landed barely landing spinning back fist in the first round. Second round, Rosa was chopping the legs. Pérez faked a shot to her puss. The replay was clear, just landed to her leg. She was getting out chopped. Got a late takedown, but did zero damage with it. Lost the second round. And then the third round, she was just getting her takedown stuffed and getting her legs chopped and losing. And somehow the judges give it to Pérez, and the commentary team was sucking off Pérez the entire fight. Like she did something. She did nothing. She got 2 takedowns, did no damage with them, and got her legs chopped. This was a garbage fight that Pérez should have lost, but somehow she gets a win. And they were like, yeah, Karol Rosa's got to do something. Well, apparently they were right, because the judges had it against her. I just don't get it, man. And the simps are defending Pérez because she twerks. I mean, this is disturbing. And yeah, she's really got it dialed into the entertainment style. This was a dog shit fight. She should be ashamed of herself. She should get cut from the roster. She did nothing. I mean, stats are not real. Stats are not real. Stats are not real. I'll never use them to prove my point because they're inaccurate. But I mean, full fight. This is what the UFC has listed. 1 takedown. And I thought she had 2 takedowns. But maybe I'm wrong. I think she had 2 takedowns. I think this is wrong. Yeah, this is probably wrong. But anyway, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I mean, Karol Rosa won this fight, but they robbed it for Ailín Pérez. I think the judges were just heavily favoring control time tonight at UFC 311. We'll talk about the overall card and the arena, which was actually amazing. We'll talk about that at the end of the video. But, yeah, Ailín Pérez gets a unanimous decision somehow, some way. Let me just make sure. Yeah, it was a unanimous decision. Garbage, absolute garbage. Next fight on the card. Grant Dawson versus Diego Ferreira. This was a weird fight from a reffing standpoint. It felt like the ref was giving into the boos, which was very bizarre. Early Grant Dawson looking for a takedown. Ferreira scrambling well. There was a good knee from Grant Dawson as Ferreira had one hand down. And then at one point, I believe it was, I'm trying to think. Hold on, let me see. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think it was in the first round, right? Yeah. He landed a knee. I was just making sure real quick. In the first round, Grant Dawson had a single leg and Ferreira was leaning on one hand, so he thought he was down. Grant Dawson landed a knee and a head kick. Had he put more into it, he could have put Diego Ferreira down. Eventually got him down, controlled him, beat him up. There was an up kick at the end of the round by Ferreira. A clear 10-9 round for Dawson. Second round, Dawson started brawling and getting clipped a little bit, but eventually got a takedown. There was a scramble where Ferreira ended up on his back. We got shaken off, and then Dawson was on top doing ground and pound. Third round, Dawson looks for a takedown. There's a scramble. He ends up on top. Literally 10 seconds later, Frank Trigg, the referee, there's booing in the crowd. He stands him right up. They brawl for a second. Dawson takes him right back down. He starts warning Dawson as Dawson's smashing him with the ground and pound. He's warning him he's going to stand him up because he's in guard. He was landing good, heavy shots. And I really don't get it. And then the last 30 seconds, Dawson took his back, was doing really good damage. Had this been a 5-round fight, the writing would have been on the wall. Dawson would have got a 4th round finish probably. Or maybe if there was a minute more in the 3rd round, he might have got a finish. But Dawson dominated him. Ferreira has good jiu-jitsu, but man, Dawson really good offensive wrestling. And Ferreira just really wasn't able to recover from some of the takedowns. Got taken down, controlled, beat up, Lost all 3 rounds. Unanimous decision win for Grant Dawson. Next fight on the card. We have this fight. They don't even let me click on this fight. What is going on with the UFC? Okay, we'll just put it like that. So it's the only fight on the screen. We have Bogdan Guskov versus Billy Elekana. Very, very interesting fight. I actually scored both rounds for Guskov, even though that might sound crazy. Considering you can see, never mind, it's just the time. I thought it was control time for a second. I was about to say maybe that metric would be somewhat legitimate. But Bogdan Guskov gets the second round guillotine. First round, Elekana got a takedown early, was able to take this was crazy, was able to take his back, get good side elbows, was doing some damage, looking for a rear naked choke. And then at the end, Guskov was able to scramble out, land some shots, ended up taking Elekana's back. And I'm trying to remember. Oh, this was at the end of the round. He ends up on Elekana's back, locking in a rear naked choke. I believe it was Beltran who was the referee. So when there's an active submission going, the perfect example of this is Conor McGregor, Khabib Nurmagomedov. Now, granted, this wasn't the end of the round, but this was a stoppage, a stop in the action, which was actually a submission win for Khabib. But when the round ends and there's an active submission, the ref's kind of supposed to jump in and kind of disengage that. Beltran just yells stop as Guskov has a deep rear naked choke with like 10 seconds left. And Elekana ends up tapping out like 2 seconds after the bell rings because Beltran just stood away and yelled stop. So Elekana basically gets finished. He also took some decent damage on the ground. There's some good ground and pound from Guskov as well. But after that, Elekana was just completely gassed. Guskov, second round, walking him down, landing good shots, has him up against the fence. Guskov is tired, starts ripping to the body, and basically Elekana is done at this point. He's up against the cage, just destroyed. Some uppercuts, drop Elekana to a knee, and then he just sits there at it on a knee. And Guskov's just landing some shots, and then eventually Elekana just doesn't move. Even Guskov kind of waves him up. He just sits there on a knee. And Guskov just says, okay, just jumps in and takes the guillotine easy. You know, I know he took it on short notice, but man, I don't think he even deserves another chance. It was humiliating. The way he just chilled on his knee and then just basically gave the guillotine. He was gassed, fair enough. But if we're being honest, man, it was a very, very weird performance because he almost won in the first round. Like, almost, that's a bit of an exaggeration. Looked good in the first round, only to put on the most piss-poor second round performance. I'm sure we'll get another opportunity. How is Guskov underdog? That's crazy. But either way, Guskov gets it done, second round guillotine. Next fight on the card, is going to let me click on this one? It is. We have Zachary Reese versus Azamat Bekoev. I'm never ever picking Zachary Reese again. I should have known when he got Batista bombed by Cody Bum that she was no good. He got taken down. He's like looking for half-ass arm bars where the arm isn't even in position. He's throwing elbows off his bottom, off the bottom, doing decent, throwing hammer fist, but not trying to get up. And then eventually, Azamat Bekoev just starts smashing with ground and pound and slumps him out cold. Now, to be fair, there was a couple back of the head shots. I mean, but he was done, man. He wasn't ready. He was too busy trying to throw offense off of his back when he had his opponent in full guard instead of trying to get up. And that's what left him susceptible to the ground and pound. I mean, it was brutal. When the referee jumped in, the referee almost elbowed him. But yeah, Zach Reese gets put out cold by Bekoev. Filthy finish. Zach Reese took some serious time to get up. It was nasty the way he got put out. And there was some back of the head shots involved, but he was done regardless. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do now, but there were shots to the chin that I attribute his unconsciousness to. But man, Zach Reese is a bomb. I know people don't criticize these guys. They get in the cage. Of course, I just realized I don't even have the names on the screen. That's crazy. I just realized that. Well, it is 5 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, Zachary Reese gets brutally KO'd via ground and pound in the first round. Next fight on the card, we have Peyton Talbot versus Hani Barcelos. Basically, first round, Barcelos gets an early takedown, gets him flattened out, looking for the rear naked choke, full mount multiple times, but very limited damage. At one point, looked for the arm triangle, had like one big elbow. Barcelos clearly won the first round, but not a 10-8. Some people were saying 10-8. There was no damage. Second round, Talbot came out, was landing good shots on the feet. Talbot was stuffing early takedowns. There was a moment where he got him down where he scrambled, and I think Talbot hit a toss and ended up on top for a little bit and had full mount for a little bit himself. Got back up, started slinging, was stuffing takedowns, was landing on Barcelos, but then got taken down in the last 30 seconds. Talbot clearly won the second round, in my opinion. I thought, but maybe I have to go back and rewatch it. And then the third round, Talbot was doing well early. He was stuffing takedowns, landing good shots, but he was just too tired. Eventually, Barcelos got him down, got full mount, did some damage, and clearly won the third round. So I had it 29-28 for Hani Barcelos. And in the last minute, Talbot was defenseless on the ground. Now, I know some people were saying, Peyton Talbot exposed, fraud check. These people don't watch the sport. Peyton Talbot got out-grappled and dominated in the first round by Nick Aguirre and then came back and won. So his grappling's always been an issue. Now, there was people hyping up Peyton Talbot. Oh, he's Dana White's contender. He's a guy that's going to be a champion. I was never one of those guys. I had high hopes for Peyton Talbot, but it remained to be seen. But, man, Peyton Talbot got dominated in the grappling in this fight. Luckily, he didn't take too much damage. He had some moments. He could have won this fight. It all came down to the third, in my opinion. He could have won this fight. But the cardio wasn't there. He spent too much time trying to scramble and avoid bad positions and avoid submissions. Then he ended up too tired in the third round. And that's what cost him, because had he kept it on the feet in the third round, he could have won this fight. So Peyton Talbot loses via unanimous decision. Next fight on the card, opening up the main card. What did I tell you, boys? What did I tell you guys? Kevin Holland gets completely dominated and submitted via rear naked choke in the first round. I don't know why I almost said second round. Great win from Reinier de Ridder. Easy win from Reinier de Ridder. I've been telling you guys since I started my channel, basically over 3 years, okay? I've been telling you guys, Kevin Holland is a bomb. He's not good. The commentary during this fight was delusional. So Reinier de Ridder took him down with utter ease. Kevin Holland starts throwing up like a half-assed triangle. I literally didn't know what submission Rogan was talking about when he was saying, it's tight. It's tight. I was like, is he talking about an armbar or a triangle? That's how not in a submission Reinier de Ridder was in. I swear, for some reason, people dick ride Kevin Holland. I don't get it. He's never been that good. His grappling has always been dog shit. And for some reason, people hype him up. And Rogan's like, yeah, man, if he really tried, he could be champion. No, he couldn't. He could not be champion. No, it never happened. He sucks. And he got destroyed by Reinier de Ridder, who took him down easily, beat him up on the ground easily. And when the opportunity arose, he choked his ass out. It wouldn't be a Kevin Holland fight without him quitting. Luckily, this time it wasn't in the school. At least he was in a rear naked choke here. Reinier de Ridder, excellent grappler. Stylistically, I know a lot of people are like, oh, Reinier de Ridder sloppy on the feet. As long as he could get the takedown, I knew he was going to sub Kevin Holland, because Kevin Holland's not good. So, good win for Reinier de Ridder. Kind of proves his worth in the UFC a little bit. He says he wants like a top 5 middleweight. To be honest, I wouldn't mind seeing him get in a big fight. I wouldn't mind seeing him stepping up in the welterweight division. I mean, they're giving Kevin Holland, when he was unranked, top 10 guys at welterweight, and Wonderboy Thompson just to go out and quit on the stool because he's got Dana White privilege and he's friends with Dana and they talk about sneakers together. But yeah, Reinier de Ridder gets it done. First round, rear naked choke. Easy win for Reinier de Ridder. Next fight on the card, we have Jailton Almeida versus Sergey Spivak. Very fun fight. First round TKO via back shots dead for Jailton Almeida. So Almeida starts landing a couple leg kicks, eventually kind of overextends, ends up getting hip tossed by Spivak. Spivak ends up getting good ground and pound. Like, I was actually like, oh my God, Almeida might get finished here. I literally thought that at one point, that Almeida might get finished, because Spivak was like postured up, landed some good shots, landing some powerful shots up against the fence as well. But eventually Almeida reverses, ends up on top, ends up getting the back of Spivak, and he's looking for a rear naked choke, and at one point he was in mount, and then he ended up on back, and at one point, Spivak is trying to shake him off, and he's almost off, but Almeida's such a high-level grappler. He took the end where the hook was coming out, he took that arm where the hook was coming out, grabbed the opposite arm of Spivak as he's shaking him off, and used that to leverage himself back in the position. But eventually Spivak turns into him, ends up on top, and then Almeida soon thereafter, he doesn't spend a lot of time there, soon thereafter elevates, ended up back standing Almeida lands a nasty right hand almost right away. Rocks Spivak, starts attacking him. I thought he could have finished him when he was up against the cage. Spivak was like he's like retreated to the cage, was like getting smashed with big shots. But then Almeida immediately defaults to grappling, which I thought could have been a mistake. But he just ragged out him to the ground, landed some weird shots from like an awkward position on the ground where he's kind of has his leg across the chest, but then eventually says, you know what, let me get into a more dominant position, gets his back, flattens him out, and just back shots dead the last 10 seconds of the round. Look, you can see right here, 4 minutes and 53 seconds stoppage in the first round. Jailton Almeida, brutal back shots dead, ground and pound TKO, which wasn't the only back shots dead TKO tonight. We're going to get to another one in a second. Look, Jailton Almeida did what I thought he would do for the most part. But man, just chilling there sometimes and taking that damage. It was like he was accepting of the ground and pound from Spivak, which I think was a little bit underwhelming considering Jailton Almeida. If John Jones is gone, Jailton Almeida is like the next contender in the heavyweight division. Heavyweight is completely and utterly dead. But he did what he's supposed to do. He used his grappling, super high level grappler. Didn't really show anything new. Gets it done against Spivak. First round, back shots dead. Next fight on the card. We have Jiří Procházka versus Jamahal Hill. Salty Jamahal Hill. Look, I know everyone's going to be taking a shit on Jamahal Hill because he gets brutally finished in the third round. I don't know if I'm really here to do that, to be honest. The low-hanging fruit here, if he comes out and starts making a million excuses, maybe then we can start, dunking on Jamahal Hill. But this fight was incredible. This was an incredible fight. First round, Jiří looked good. When I was watching the first round, I'm seeing Jamahal kind of engage in a brawl a bit. I'm like, oh, Jiří's going to win this fight. Hit him with a nasty straight left early, dropped him. Not early, but dropped him with a straight left, like maybe a minute and a half into the fight. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Might have been halfway through the round. Dropped him there. Jamahal Hill recovers well, gets back up, lands some shots of his own. Jiří clips him with a big shot at the end of round one as well. Jiří clearly wins the first round. By the start of the second round, Jamahal Hill already looks like he's been hit by a truck. His eyes busted up. He's bloodied up a bit. But it wasn't like a complete domination in the first round. Jamahal Hill had some moments where he would land some straight shots. Second round, Jiří's flowing, doing well, moving well, head movement's good. Jamahal gets poked in the eye. Now, I don't blame Jamahal for anything here. When you watch the replay, it was clearly a knuckle. Even Jiří thought it was an eye poke. He gets a break. He's fine. He returns. He eye pokes Jiří Procházka. Brutal eye poke by Jamahal to Jiří. There's another break. I'm like, oh no. What's going to happen here? We're going to have excuses. They bring in the doctor for no reason. But Jamahal Hill cracked Jiří with a couple good shots in this round. A little bit more than Jiří landed on Jamahal Hill. Jiří had some moments as well. And then Jamahal was really starting to find the body shots. I think he landed a really good straight left with like a minute left. Kind of hurt Jiří to the body a little bit. And I thought the second round was Jamahal Hill's round. Then you had the third round. The third round was filthy, man. You could see Jamahal knew he had to win the third round. He was getting aggressive. He ends up landing a couple shots. He's kind of pulling down on Jiří's head, landing some uppercuts. He was doing that throughout the fight as well. He gets over aggressive, man. He gets caught with a left right hand and gets put down badly. I think he's going to get finished right there. Jiří starts smashing him on the ground. There's a leg entanglement. Jamahal Hill scrambles back to his feet, gets clipped up again, and then eventually eats a nasty uppercut that puts him down bad. He's curled up. Jiří kind of goes to the back, starts smashing him like from side angles, back shots dead. TKO win for Jiří Procházka in the third round. How does Jiří get it done, man? He's such a savage. He's such a wild man. But somehow he goes out there and gets it done. He looked improved in this fight. Maybe the ponytail needs to go away. Ferreira broke the ponytail. Let's get rid of it. I'm going to be honest, though, when I saw Jamahal Hill get in the cage, I thought he looked in good shape before the fight. When he got into the cage, he had the muffin top, he had the knee pads on. It looks like he was like an aging WWE wrestler that couldn't take the damage on his knees anymore. His movement looked horrible in contrast to Jiří Procházka. Jiří's like super light on his feet, bouncing around like a maniac, lunging in, great head movement. And Jamal's like there, flat-footed, like looking kind of slow, looking at a speed differential. He did land some good straight shots, don't get me wrong. He landed some good body shots as well. But the corner advice you kept hearing was move your feet, Jamahal. Move your feet, Jamahal. Move your feet, Jamahal. And I just think against a guy like thinking back now, hindsight's 2020. I picked Jamahal Hill to win this fight. I just thought Jiří's chin's been cracked. I was back when this fight was supposed to happen a while ago for the title. I was picking Jiří all the way. But now, seeing Jiří get his chin cracked multiple times by Ferreira, I thought, okay, Jamal's going to go out there and crack his chin and put him away. But Jiří weathered the storm. When he did hit some shots, he weathered the storm. And it's just like the pressure that he puts on you and the awkward movement. He's hard to track down, and he kept his hands up a little bit more in this fight, and he was landing good kicks, and Jamal wasn't smashing the leg kicks. He threw like a leg kick to start the fight. I'm like, oh, Jamal's smart. He's going to chop those legs because Jiří's super wide base. Their legs are there to be kicked. But he didn't really throw that many. He really didn't throw that many. And Jiří's landing teeps, and he's throwing the, step in left hand, and he's throwing good combinations. And, I don't know, man. It's just, Jiří went out there. He's just a complete savage. But I will say this again. I know people are going to want to take the victory lap and take the parade that, oh, Jamahal Hill lost. Ha ha ha. Let's point at Jamahal Hill. And you guys know, I'm no stranger to shitting on Jamahal Hill. This was a good fight. This was fight of the night, in my opinion. I think did get fight of the night. I'm pretty sure, right? Let me minimize this. Let me see if it says it. Performance of they screwed Jamal. Who did get fight? Okay, they give co-main event fight of the night, which I actually think it was the best fight on the card, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, Jamal, I don't think there's really a lot of shame in losing a year. I will say this. I had Jamal overrated, and I didn't even rate, like, a lot of people were telling me I was underrating Jamal. Jamal, I've talked about it. He has a garbage resume. He beat old, out-the-door Glover Teixeira, and I think I've been overrating Jamahal Hill a bit myself, even though I was kind of downplaying his resume and his skills a bit. I just think Jiří, he has such a weird style. He's hard, like, unless you have super pinpoint elite kickboxing like Alex Pereira, Jiří is going to give you problems, and that's exactly what he did here. Jamahal Hill, if he starts making excuses, he starts complaining about the stoppage, he starts complaining about an eye poke or this or that, whatever it may be, I'll be the first to jump on him. But right now, I'll just say he took a lot of damage. He put up a good fight. He showed good recoverability. But man, he's got to work on getting better footwork and not being so flat-footed. Thinking back in hindsight 2020, the footwork in this fight, Jiří's wild and unorthodox, but man, it's like Jamal was there just super flat-footed there to be had and ate so many left hands in this fight. And, Jiří Procházka gets it on. I know everyone loves Jiří. Everyone hates Jamahal Hill at this point. One time I made a video talking bad about Jamahal Hill, and it was like 2023 was my most unpopular, most hated take at the time. And now here I am taking up for Jamahal. I'll tell you one thing. Jamahal Hill's brother was excited tonight. Jamahal Hill's brother was like, yeah, hell yeah, Jiří. Get him, Jiří. But great win from Jiří. He says he wants a third fight with Ferreira. UFC 313 got announced tonight. Ferreira versus Ankalaev. I'll have to make a video on that on Sunday or Monday. Technically, it's already Sunday. But yeah, Jiří gets it done. Third round KO or TKO from back shots dead. Good win from Jiří. Next fight on the card, we have Merab Dvalishvili versus Umar Nurmagomedov. Now, I'm not going to break this down for an insane amount of time because I've already done a dedicated video on this fight, which I will link down in the description if you care to go check it out. I broke it down for like 20 minutes. Merab gets the unanimous decision. Here's how I scored it live. 1 and 2 were clearly Umar. He landed the better shots in both rounds. 3, and even in round 2, he also had a takedown. 3 was razor close. I had it barely from Merab. He's lunging forward, landing some big shots. He was taunting in round 3. I thought it might cost him. He's up against the fence. He also gave up a takedown because he's taunting while Umar was trying to take him down from the back. Round 4, Merab clearly won. Umar's starting to get tired. He was starting to get tired at the end of the second round, but really in the third round when Merab started picking up the pace. Merab clearly won round 4. And then round 5 was 2-2 going into round 5. I thought Umar was ahead, landing the better shots, doing well. And then the last minute, Merab landed like a good right hook that kind of stung Umar, and then he got a takedown and a little bit of damage on the ground. I'm going to be honest, if you scored it for Umar, I don't think you're delusional. If you scored it for Merab, I don't think you're delusional. I don't think it's a rob. I think if you're claiming robbery, it's just way too extreme. You could live, here's what I had. I had 3, 4, and 5 for Merab, but I thought 5 may go to Umar. Like I was 50-50 on that. I'll have to go back and rewatch the fight at some point. But 5 could have went either way. To be honest, 3 could have went either way. I don't know why one judge had it 4-1 Merab. It's crazy to me. But the optics of this fight won Merab the fight. I'm not saying that he didn't win the fight, but the optics of this fight won Merab the fight. Taunting in the third round, I think, actually did him well. the fact that Umar looked kind of tired and kind of unstable on the feet, and Merab was like walking forward confidently and laughing and taunting throughout. I mean, at one point, I think it was in the 5th round, he took a single leg and then just dumped him down and then backed up and pointed at him and laughed. And I just think, you look at that, I get it. You could score the 5th round for Umar. In 1 and 2, I thought were clearly Umar. Round 1, Umar landed the crisper shots on the feet. But what this fight truly showed me is these are the 2 best bantamweights in the world. Merab's already the GOAT, in my opinion. I was saying that before this fight. He's definitely the GOAT now. I mean, look at the wins he has. I mean, look at the streak he has. You got Jose Aldo. You got Henry Cejudo. You got Sean O'Malley. You got Umar Nurmagomedov. There's probably someone I'm forgetting right now off the top of my head because it's too late. Let me actually look real quick. Who else was it? Who am I forgetting? Annette Piotr Yan. Yeah, so Merab's already the GOAT. Now he beats Umar Nurmagomedov. And I would love to see this as a rematch at some point in time. I think Umar's the only guy that could beat Merab. And he was out striking and even out grappling Merab. But it was like Merab's pressure, especially in the 3rd round, it seemed like was making Umar shoot takedowns that he didn't want to shoot because he was getting tired of the pressure. And Merab's cardio, I mean, in the 5th round, Merab is as fresh as he is in the 1st round. I literally don't understand it. Merab is as fresh in the 5th round as he is in the 1st round. Now, people are saying Umar got exposed. Umar got exposed as the 2nd best bantamweight in the world, potentially even the 1st. I don't have a problem. I wouldn't be screaming robbery if Umar would have got the decision. But Merab looked incredible. I know his style isn't for everyone, but I think he's still exciting. I think he's an interest. I think he's a character, man. Somebody gave him a character in this community. And he gets it done. He wins via decision. 49-46 by one judge is delusional. The other 2 judges had it right, 48-47. But the one guy that had 49-46 scored round 1 for Merab, which is completely and utterly delusional. Round 2, maybe you could score for Merab. But I think what it comes down to is that 3rd and 5th round, which could have gone either way, but I lean slightly Merab. Umar came out afterwards, said, I thought I won the fight. I had a broken hand in the 1st round. Listen, broken hand in the 1st round. Merab had staph in camp and apparently had a back injury as well. I think it all comes out in the wash. Is he going to continue to make excuses? I doubt it. I think he just said it kind of afterwards, and, it remains to be seen. Maybe he'll get an x-ray. Maybe he doesn't have a broken hand. He posted a picture. It's swollen. But would love to see this fight again. I'm laughing because they're trying to give Sean O'Malley an undeserved title shot. Who wants to see that? Merab's going to dominate him. Sean O'Malley doesn't have a single chance to beat Umar or Merab. The win of O'Malley over Aljo was a complete fluke. And O'Malley still, in my opinion, O'Malley still isn't even proven in a way. Because he eye-poked Munoz after losing a round. He robbed Piotr Yan and he fluked Aljo. And then he got dominated by Merab. So I'm back on the O'Malley discrediting train because I'm serious. I think I got it all. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's not a bum. I'm not saying that by any means. But he's not, what I'm saying is he's not beating Merab and Umar. But I don't think anyone can beat Merab outside of Umar. So I could see the UFC running this back just because it was such a great fight. But Merab's head is going to explode. Genuinely, his head's going to explode if they run this back. But, yeah, I mean, great fight. Back and forth fight. Umar getting a takedown on Merab. Merab broke GSP's takedown record because he started taking him down in the 4th and 5th round. I don't know how many takedowns did they credit with him? Why did they say full fight credit him with 0 takedowns? Yes, I don't get that. Again, these stats are bullshit anyway. But yeah, Merab probably got like 4 or 5 takedowns in this fight. Never really any top control. Both guys grappling and scrambles looked amazing. Merab's striking didn't look particularly great, but it never looks great. But again, he puts the pressure and pace on you. You can't keep up. Merab gets it done. Unanimous decision victory in a great fight. Again, I did a full breakdown on that. I'll link it down in the description. If you want to go check it out. Main event. We have Islam Makhachev versus Renato Moicano. Islam Makhachev, 1st round, dart stroke. Easy win. Easy win. I mean, Moicano had no resistance. He landed like 1 good right hand in the 1st round, maybe a couple like low impact leg kicks, and there were some striking exchanges. I think Islam landed like a right hand, straight right hand as well. There was a moment where, it looked like Makhachev got dropped, but it was really just him off balance after an exchange. I don't even think a punch landed like to push him off balance. It definitely didn't land to his head. I watched it back. But, eventually, Islam just says, okay, I'm going to shoot a takedown. Got an easy takedown off a single leg. And then does a little bit of ground and pound from half guard. And then Moicano is like pushing off the fence and trying to scramble out. Eventually ends up kind of scrambling out a little bit and ends up on his hands and knees. Islam literally jumps from the darce, immediately locks it up. Moicano taps like he didn't have a chance to think about it. As soon as the darce was on, he was tapping. It was tight as could be. And Islam did exactly what he should do to a guy like Renato Moicano. I know people were like, oh man, he can't afford to lose. Moicano's not that good. Okay, he was 1-1 with BSD, but got stopped at the eye injury. Now granted, he 10-8'd him in the first round. Fair enough. Jalen Turner should have finished him. He's an idiot. Moicano doesn't really have any great wins. And people are acting like, oh, he has a chance, man. He's dangerous. Apparently Mighty Mouse Johnson, CTE was showing. He was saying, Moicano's more dangerous than Armin. What a joke. It was actually aggravating me over the last couple of days. Man, Moicano can get it done, man. He's so good, blah, blah, blah. You had to get a fluke KO or a fluke injury. That's the only way he would have got it done. Makhachev's better everywhere. Took him down easily, submitted him easily. And on the feet, not a whole lot happened in particular. I mean, Islam landed a couple good shots. Islam outstruck him on the feet. But it wasn't anything crazy. And now, look, I mean, this is why I hate short notice fights. Because Renato Moicano is never going to get a title shot again. He took a title shot on 24 hours notice. Now, granted, he had a full camp. And now Islam gets discredited for a win over Moicano. Now, I'll tell you this. Islam Makhachev is pound for pound number 1. I think he's the GOAT at lightweight. And I think Moicano adds to his resume. I don't think it's a great win, but he did. Moicano isn't like complete trash, but the level Moicano is, Islam did exactly what he was supposed to do to him. Now, Armin would smash Moicano as well, but I still think it does mean something for Islam to take a different stylistic matchup on 24 hours notice, who isn't a trash can, complete trash can at least, and go out there and absolutely destroy him in the first round. So I think there's something to be said for that. I know all the Dagestani haters, they're going to be like, oh man, now you only beat Moicano. Meanwhile, they were saying, man, I got a feeling Money Moicano is going to win. Money Moicano is going to pull it out. He can't afford to lose. Well, you got to bump and pay for stepping in on short notice against the champion. He can't afford to lose now. He had no chance to win this fight. But it is what it is. I give him credit for taking it. I give Islam credit for taking it. I think Islam is the GOAT at lightweight. And I think Moicano's never get another title shot again. He better not move up in the rankings because we're not giving out participation trophies. Maybe some people are going to say, oh man, he dropped him in the first round. Maybe that's the moment they're going to look to grasp at. But he really didn't. He didn't. It was just Islam tripping over his own 2 feet, basically. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but you get my point. But yeah, Dana White, even at the post-fight presser, says, Islam Makhachev, pound for pound, number 1. Does that mean Jones Aspinall isn't happening? But yeah, Makhachev did exactly what he was supposed to do. Elite level fighter, pound for pound, number 1 in the UFC, GOAT lightweight. By the way, this card was amazing. I really enjoyed this card. Nice change of pace from the Apex card that people hyped up last week. I mean, I would have rather be Islam Armin, but it is what it is. He did what he was supposed to do to Moicano. He collected a check. It is what it is. But Merab versus Umar, amazing. Jiří versus Jamahal, amazing. Almeida versus Spivak, really enjoyable. De Ritter versus Holland, great. We get Talbot being exposed a bit, even though he was already exposed by Nikagiri. I really enjoyed this card. UFC 311. By the way, let me know what you guys think about this. The arena, the Intuit Dome. It looked so incredible on TV, man. The backdrop of like the lights was just enough in the audience that it looked really cool behind, like, you know, while the fight was going on. And then the video packages they were putting on the screen looked incredible. I thought this looked better than the Sphere. And what made me love this card so much as well is it felt like really modern. I don't know. It just felt like the UFC upgraded for UFC 311 and it looked really, really good. And it just looked high tech. And I love like the little bit of cinematography they had of like showing the way they showed the little 360 board. Great card. Great arena. I would love to see him go back to the Intuit Dome more. Dana White said there. I'm sure they're going to go back there again. Hopefully they go back there again this year. I don't know if it will or will not happen, but Islam gets it done in the main event. Merab gets it done in the co-main event. They're both the GOATs of their respective divisions. Where does Islam go from here? Because Dana already said Armin's not getting a title shot, which I told you guys. The second he posted that video, I said he's pissed at Armin for pulling out. Topuria is calling out Islam, but Topuria is supposed to fight Volk. I don't know what they make next. I guess they're probably going to give Oliveira an undeserved title shot, but that'll be a rematch that people want to see because Oliveira's a draw, and at least Oliveira did win his last fight, even though he lost to Armin at UFC 300. It was close. So I don't mind that fight, but Makhachev's going to beat Oliveira in a rematch in my opinion. But that's probably the fight they're going to make next. Let me know what you guys thought of UFC 311. Do me a favor, like the videos, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and thank you guys so much for watching.